relish and all that stuff, and it was, they were really good. They were probably really good at, disguising the horse meat. But maybe they were mixing some horse meat with beef to, cover the flavor. This is like one national chain. I swear to God, if you take the meat off the buns and take the pickle off and the ketchup and mustard off, and you take a bite of it, you don't even taste the meat. You just taste pepper.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
I don't mention the name, but I tell you what.
No, I won't. Every
time I eat one of those, my stomach hurts about a half an hour later.
Yeah, they make me sick too. And it's funny you speak about these restaurants. There's another restaurant, I won't mention the name, but they're being slammed over what is called a dumb burger that is half meat and half plant based. It's called a hybrid burger, and a lot of people are not liking it, I guess. But again, pick a side. Either, why you got to eat something that's fake? I don't know. It just blows my mind.
Burger King is selling a whole bunch of their fake Whoppers. People are, lining up and getting upset because they can't even produce them fast enough. And how could you? I can tell the difference between beef and plant. I'm sorry. I want to eat my beef. I'm sorry, poor cow. At least I'm not mutilating you.
I don't even know where to go with it. That's just so bizarre. We've come to the age where we're eating plants and calling it plant burger, and it's just weird. I don't know. It's not for me anyway.
Well, when I was single back about 43 years ago, I know what I did wrong. I wasn't if you're a binge drinker and you're a man, you're more attractive to women.
Well, that explains a lot in my young days, Angie.
I didn't drink when I was young. I went on one little drinking stage, and then I got out of it because it was not my thing. But, maybe I would have had dozens and dozens of girlfriends if I would have went out and got drunk all the time. Maybe it's because they feel sorry for the guy and they feel they can manipulate him.
He might not have remembered it anyway, so there's a catch to this binge drinking.
Well, in the odd news, Nevada is bracing for a zombie invasion. That's right, in zombie deers.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's in the news. It's not fake. It's right there in the news.
I've actually heard reports about these zombie deers. I think it's some kind of disease from ticks or something that makes them, I don't know, all starry-eyed. They're looking into headlights all the time or something. I don't know. But I'm telling you this much, the rut season here is going to be starting pretty soon, about mid-November. And white-tailed deers, man, they can be very brave and dangerous sometimes. You got to be careful.
Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? Maybe, this guy, I don't know if it actually caused it to happen, but this man is suing Apple. He's already filed the lawsuit. He claims his Apple phone turned him gay. So he's suing Apple.
Oh, my goodness. Speaking of...
I shouldn't have said that because there's going to be a rush of people suing Samsung. Samsung, they turned me, tried, I won't even say the word. But you could go gay, you could go all kinds of different ways, and you could file all these different lawsuits. Each brand phone caused you to do whatever.
Yeah, somebody's got to put a stop to this madness, or everybody's going to be suing everybody for everything. I just seen another thing, speaking of that, where there's a report out that evil ghosts or spirits are attaching to people and making them gay, which is another bizarre report that I seen on the news. Like, what is going on here?
Well,
doesn't make sense, Gary.
I don't know. In Australia would be the very safest place on Earth if the Earth actually starts having a pandemic, like zombies or something happens. Because they're on an island out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that makes sense. They are like the biggest, technically, island, I think. So, yeah, I guess that would make sense. But, however, they're going to have to stop all flights coming in and boats and people because they're going to bring the pandemic in, unfortunately. Unfortunately,
they did. Whoever wrote that news article really wasn't thinking. By the time the world realizes there's something going on, like with zombies walking down the street, right? Well, undoubtedly, some of them are already going to be in Australia. They're going to start biting people, and then there it is. It's already started. Hey, guys, you better think that over. That is the biggest fake news I've read all week.
Yeah, because in this day and age with the technology the way it is, with planes in and out, and boats, and that the time they get that information, it's already in their country. So now what? They're going to deal with it just like everybody else.
Well, there's a guy who figured out a good way to get rid of his tattoo on his arm.
Oh, Lord, I'm afraid to ask. Tell me.
Do you really want to hear?
Yeah, why not?
He cut his own arm off.
Oh, geez. He could have just took the skin off or braided or tattooed over it or just, erased it off. But that's a little drastic, I think, to cut the whole arm off. Jeez.
Well, years ago, I used to have a guy that lived across the street from us. Okay, and he was like in the 70s, mid-70s, old fart. But, what he liked building like birdhouses and stuff, and he had his table saw outside, under his decking and whatever. And I was over there one time, and he's using it, and he cut his finger off. And then he grabs a rag and kind of wraps his hand up, takes the finger, throws it in the trash, and I said, hey, I'll take you down to the hospital. They can reattach it. And he goes, you think I am made of money? I am not going to spend a couple $1,000s for a finger I just used to stick up my nose.
Oh, my God.
I was in total shock. I mean, when I first married my wife, I was managing a department store for a while. And we had a cardboard compactor, made bales out of cardboard and stuff. And I was outside because it was jammed. And I told my assistant manager, I said, don't turn it on. The only thing he heard was turn it on. Well, I had my hand in the thing. And I managed to pull my hand out except for, my tip of my finger. Now, the tip of the finger did come out with it, but it was only the skin it was holding it on. And I get down, my wife, it gets me in the car because she worked over at the grocery store next door. So she's taking me to the hospital. Well, she makes a wrong turn on the freeway, so we're heading the wrong way. The first 5-10 minutes, it really didn't hurt much because of, being in shock. Then it started hurting like you wouldn't believe. And then we get into the hospital up in Renton, Washington. And I'm in the ER, okay? And I'm sitting here with a towel wrapped. It's now, it was a white towel. Now it's kind of all red. And, I'm sitting there in pain, and my wife keeps grabbing the nurses and say, hey, he's in a lot of pain, And no, we're going to reattach it. They bring a guy in, right next to me. Now, this guy, evidently, he was talking to the doctors, and I was listening to this. I couldn't help. Almost like you heard about your story last night at the hospital thing with your former wife. Okay, I was sitting there, on the table, and the guy's sitting there saying to the doctor, I just got married a couple of weeks ago. And the doctor's saying, well, what? How could you do that? And he goes, I dropped it on my lap. Now, a circular saw he dropped on his lap.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, you can figure what he removed.
Yeah, that's scary. That's a horror story. Jeez.
Yeah, no, and then my wife is standing next to me. I'm hearing this, right? And I said, why don't we just go home? She goes, you got to get the tip of your finger reattached. I said, yeah, but this guy just cut his penis off, and I'm sitting here worried about the tip of my finger.
My goodness. I'll tell you the stuff, you'd be amazed the stuff you can overhear in hospitals. It's scary stuff. It really is. I've got scars, Gary, all over my fingers that I've operated on myself for years. And I've saved a lot of money by not getting stitches by using, believe it or not, super glue. I have super glued myself upside down all over the place throughout the years.
Super glue. Do you know how it was originally compounded and when and for what? In Vietnam, okay, it was used something similar to super glue, same type of stuff, right? Somebody, because to stop the bleeding, the bad wounds, they were like ripped open and stuff like that. they'd take a pouch of this stuff out and then squirt it in and put the two halves together or on the artery, and it would stop the bleeding. That's how it was actually compounded and what it was compounded for. Then they found out you could use it for anything almost.
Yeah, that super glue. Listen, I've been doing this since the early 80s because I'd go way out in the middle of nowhere and in the woods, hunting or fishing or something. And, there's some big thorns and stuff. If you open an artery or get cut real bad out, when you're 3-4 miles from civilization, you can bleed at that time. So I used to always have it with me. And I have got scars where I've super glued myself up. And the beauty of it dries instantly. So it doesn't get in your bloodstream, and it actually seals up the wounds. And it could actually save your life. And
you know what? A lot of people don't realize that you can take super glue. If you want to make it permanent and hard, they use it, on airplane propellers or like helicopter blades. If there's a slight imperfection, they take a super glue, and what they do is put it in there and fill it and then put baking soda on top of it. The baking soda makes it get extremely hard, and it's permanent. I mean, it gets hard as steel. Try it. Take a little baking soda sometime and put it on top of wet super glue. It's crazy. I remember that. Yeah, it's crazy. A bush pilot in Alaska, okay, he lands, he's out hunting, he comes back to his airplane, and it's all tore up. A bear decided to tear it. It tore the whole back of the plane virtually off, and the rudder was all tore up. It was really, really tore up, and he had to get back. He was out in the middle of nowhere. He duct tapes his plane back together.
Hey, whatever works is, I got to tell you something. There obviously was an angry bear there that wanted to keep this guy there to eat, maybe. That's scary stuff.
The guy must watch Red Green, reruns. You know who Red Green is?
I've heard of him, yeah. He was the one that would fix anything with...
we're going to use duct tape to fix the... that guy, And, hey, duct tape can save your life. Excuse me, I cough because every time I do a Red Green imitation, hey, you want to buy some? No, anyway, they said if you do too much exercises, like if you exercise a lot, you have a tendency to go out and blow your money foolishly.
Now, wait a minute. Whoever
it makes you feel good about yourself. It gets your adrenaline going, and you go out and spend money unwisely.
Oh, boy, I guess if you went into the gym for one night, you're going to buy a year's prescription of gym workouts because, you're going to spend it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In Russia, they're selling Bin Laden toys.
In Russia?
In Russia.
What kind of toy is it, I wonder? Oh, my God.
Well, no, it's a toy of him.
Oh, like an action figure.
Yeah, of all that. And it's very popular in Russia.
Oh, boy, it would be the good ones to blow up, I'll tell you. My goodness. What will they think of next, Gary? You know what? We need an action figure of you.
Yeah, well, you got about 10 pounds of cement. Now, a time traveler says computers have manipulated our time, and it all started in the year 2300.
Oh. So what does that mean? How's it affecting us today?
Well, I guess it's messed up our timeline.
Oh, so what? When we get to 2300, it's going to be...
No, it was done in 2300, and it's caused the problem right now, the rift of it.
Oh, so maybe that's when AI takes over. That's a scary thought. Because eventually AI is going to have its own consciousness, so to speak.
Well, the doctors in the UK healed a man's split penis with honey.
They didn't use super glue. They used honey.
They used honey. It says doctors in the UK heal man's split penis with honey.
Oh, that just gives me a splitting headache, so to speak. Oh my goodness!
It makes me wonder what is going on. I wouldn't even think about honey. I would use super glue over honey. I don't know. Next, they're going to use what? Mustard or ketchup? I have no idea. Anyway, we're going to be back in about 2.5 minutes. You're listening to me, Gary, and we got James out there on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark.